Hello, my loves. So, the question is, who am I? It's not really meant to get an answer. The question is, who am I, is meant to dissolve the questionnaire. So, whoa, dissolve the questionnaire. What does that even mean? How can dissolving my identity help me figure out who I am? Well, let's try and find out. So, who am I equals what is my identity? The answer to who am I is our identity. So, identity is our all encompassing system of memories, experience, feelings, thoughts, relationships, and values that define who each of us are. So, it's the stuff that makes up a self. So, identity is a critical component of understanding, or I like to say understanding who we are. Why? Because we can break up identity into components: values, experiences, relationship. So these components we can identify and understand. Then once we have understood the components of our identity, we can get a big picture look at who we really are. So in a nutshell, we're a lot more than one thing. We're a whole system of ideals and experiences. Our need for identity, who am I, gets at the heart of one of our most basic needs, our need for identity. So we are living beings searching for and find comfort in a solid sense of identity. It grounds us, it gives us confidence, and our sense of identity affects every single thing in our lives, from the choices we make to the values we live by. So, according to Shahram Hishmat, a PhD author of Science and Choices, identity relates to our basic values that dictate the choices we make, relationships, career. These choices reflect who we are and what we value. So, wow, our identities are almost avatars to the values and tenets that we hold. So, our identity is a reflection of what we believe, what we do, and what we value, which is powerful stuff. So, yet, our sense of identity can be compromised by outside factors. How is that possible? Well, Dr. Shema explains why. So few people choose their identities. Instead, they simply internalize the values of their parents or the dominant culture's pursuit of materialism, power, appearances. Sadly, these values may not be aligned with one's authentic self and create an unfulfilling life. So this is what can cause problems. So here's the painful truth. Much of our identity was forced upon us. The inorganic identity causes us to experience a tremendous amount of stress. Why? Because we know that identity is false. It's something demanded of us. The problem is we don't know what our organic identity is. And that's why we ask, who am I? So the roles we play. To make things harder on ourselves, we each have multiple identities: sons, daughters, parents, friends. We basically split and compartmentalize our identities and roles, and we perform these roles in different circumstances. Each role, to quote by Dr. Shamat, has its own meaning and expectations that are internalized as identity. So basically, when we perform these roles, we internalize them as if they were our own identities. We're all actors taking on a dozen roles. Except the problem is we've tricked ourselves into believing these roles are real. So this conflict, coupled with the need to find our authentic self, is the cause of much of our unhappiness. This conflict is called identity struggle. So often in the face of identity struggle, many end up adopting darker identities, such as drug abuse, compulsive shopping, or gambling, as a compensatory method of experiencing aliveness, or staving out or staving off depression and meaninglessness. So struggling to figure out who we are can have grave side effects. That's why it is important to discover the answers to the question, who am I? Because the alternative is depression and meaninglessness. On the upside, people who have successfully found their authentic selves are shown to be far happier and more content. This is because they are able to live a life true to their values and pursue meaningful goals. But how can you figure out who you really are? How can you separate your true identity from the one given to you by your family and what was shaped by society? How can I figure out who I am? Clearly, it's critical to discover who you are. When you are firm in your identity, your life is more meaningful, joyful, and purposeful. We have found that there are 5 key steps you can take to help answer the question, who am I? These steps are backed by experts and will help you firm up your identity so that you can live a life full of purpose. So here are the 5 ways to help you answer the question, who am I? Reflect. To quote the king of pop, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I love that song. And this advice rings true. You need to reflect upon yourself whenever you are engaging in self-discovery. This means that you have to examine yourself for all your strengths, your flaws, your impressions you give others, the whole lot. You have to critically engage with the reflection you present. So think of it like this. The first step, perhaps, is to take stock. Who are you? When you buy a house and prepare to live in it, you hire an inspector to list all its faults as it is. In reality, now that as you wish it could be, you'll even pay him for the bad news. You need to know. You need to discover the home's hidden flaws. You need to know whether they are cosmetic imperfections or structural inequities. You need to know because you can't fix something if you don't know it's broken. And you're broken. You need an inspector. The eternal critic, it could play that role if you could get it on track. If you and it could cooperate. Okay? So, you have to be your own inspector. You have to look at the whole self as the house and get down deep to that foundation. Ask yourself, who are you right now? What are your strengths, your flaws? Do you like who you see in the mirror? Do you think that who you are doesn't match who you see? How does that make you feel? Identify which areas of your life you are unhappy about. Look at what you think could be better, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Don't go rush and slap band-aids all over the issues. This step isn't about quick fixes. It's not even about changing anything. Instead, it's about sitting with yourself, ups and downs, and understanding where you are. Once you have a good grasp on yourself, then you can move on to step 2, which is decide who you want to be. You can never be a perfect person. There's no such thing as a perfect person. You have to embrace the fact that you will never be perfect. But on the path of self-discovery, you should embrace that there are things you want to improve. And improvement is possible. So for step 2, what you need to do is identify who you want to become. And be honest with yourself about what's possible. Being Superman isn't what we're after. Let's take, a page out of this Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, an international best-selling author, 12 Rules for Life. So start with yourself. Take care of yourself. Refine your personality. Choose your destination and articulate your being. Who is your ideal person? Is it someone kind, strong, intelligent, brave? Is it a person who isn't afraid of a challenge? Is it a person who can open herself up to love? Whoever this dream person is, define them. Define who you want to become. That's step 2. Make better choices. Make better choices for yourself. The truth is, most of us are programmed to make choices out of fear. We instinctively make an easy choice based on anxiety, desire to please, or because we don't want to put in the effort. These choices only do one thing: continue the status quo. And if you're not happy with who you are, with your current status quo, then these choices do nothing to help you. Those choices then are the bad choices. But you can choose better for yourself. You can make active decisions. Take it from clinical psychologist Marcia Reynolds. Choice means you are free to do or not do something because you decide decided on your own. To activate conscious choice, you first have to do some work to determine what really matters to you. What strengths are you proud of? What tasks do you most enjoy? What dreams keep haunting you? What would you do if you had no obligations or people to please? Take time to sort through your desires. Once you know what you want and once you know who you want to be, you can take the time to make active, conscious choices to help you be better. So, what are these choices like? Well, let's say your dream version of yourself is a marathoner. That act of choice means choosing to get off the couch, lace up your shoes, and hit the pavement. Maybe you want to go back to school and graduate college. This means choosing to complete applications, choosing to ask for recommendation letters, and choosing to study. Once you make decisions that are in line with your values and what you want, you'll start feeling empowered to find out your true identity. So number 3 is explore your passions. One of the best parts about discovering the answers to who I am is figuring out parts of yourself you never knew about. Sure, you figured out who you want to be, and you've done a great job looking in the mirror. But there's always going to be part of you that are hidden away, and it's your job to discover them. One of the best ways to help discover yourself is to explore your passions. When you engage in things you are passionate about, you stimulate creative energies. If you're passionate about sewing, go out and sew. The more you sew, you'll begin to see yourself as a sewer, even perhaps a master of your craft. This exploration will give you confidence and expertise, which helps positively ground your sense of identity. But what if I don't know what I'm passionate about? When your identity has been built by society's expectations, it's natural that you might not know what you're really passionate about, and that's okay. But if you haven't, don't go looking for it. Instead, develop it. What? How am I supposed to develop something I don't even have it? Passion is not a job, a sport, or a hobby. It is the full force of your attention and energy that you give to whatever is right in front of you. And if you're so busy looking for this passion, you can miss opportunities that change your life. So if you don't know what your passion is, don't freak out. It's not like it's the one. And if you can't find it, you'll miss out on your life. Instead, try your hand at hobbies and projects that are available to you right now. The backyard looks a little weedy. Try mulching the beds, plant some flowers. Maybe you'll realize you have a passion for gardening. Maybe you won't, but that's okay. It's all about exploration. You need to explore the possibilities for growth. Developing a growth mindset is a key component of exploring your passions along the way. You'll figure out who you are. If you're looking for some inspiration in developing the growth mindset, check out these growth mindset quotes. Okay. You can develop your own, you can do some affirmations, right? But, look into those. Number 4 is develop your social circle. Humans are social beings by nature. So much of our identity is shaped by our friends and family. When you work to figure out who you really are, you have to actively create your social circle. This means choosing who you want to hang out with. It means choosing who to let in and who to cut loose. It's crucial you find people who are aligned with your values and identity. When you understand what's most important to you in life, your life values, you can clarify who you are by choosing your social circles based on compatible values. You can have great clarity in your relationships too, as you see yourself reflected in the people around you. They always say you can judge a man by the company he keeps. This is very true. You can judge yourself by the people you hang out with. If you're hoping to develop yourself as a person, look at the friend group you have. Are they pushing you forward or holding you back? Your identity is an ongoing process. The task of finding out who you are isn't an easy one. It's probably one of the hardest things you'll ever take on. One of the worst things you can do during this process is to put pressure on yourself to figure it out right away. Discovering your identity is a journey, not an ending. When we race to the finish line, we figure out the value of the growth process. Identity isn't a static term. Why should it be? You're constantly growing, changing, evolving. We have trillions of cells in our bodies that live and die all the time. We're dynamic. Our identities must be dynamic too. Okay, so a psychotherapist and author of A Shift in Mind, Mel Schwartz, believes that we should look at our identity as an evolution of ourselves. Our identity should be seen as an ongoing process rather than a static snapshot. We should embrace a flowing sense of self, whereby we are perpetually reframing, reorganizing, rethinking, and reconsidering ourselves. How different would life be if, rather than asking who I am, we contemplate how we like to engage in life? When you embrace that your identity is dynamic, you take a lot of pressure off yourself to pin down exactly who you are. Relax. You're you. You know what you value, what you like, and what you want to be. You got the basics down. If those change, that's okay. Start back over from step one. Don't be afraid of growth. Number 5, positive disintegration. Growth comes at a cost. When you figure out who you truly are, you have to rid yourself of the parts of you that aren't honest. So how do you go through such a complicated process? When you have to shed off parts of yourself to become who you really are, it may feel like you're tugging yourself in two. Ripping yourself in two can be scary, right? There's fear that you could be throwing away a valid part of yourself, a part of yourself that you've held on to for far too long. But you have to remember, this isn't you. We have to embrace our ability to change, evolve, and become better. We have to engage in positive disintegration. Your goal then is to access this potential, keeping the parts of our identity that continues to serve us and shedding the old, habitual pieces that constrain us. This process is known as positive disintegration. This permits us to find balance between the extremes previously discussed and enter into a relationship with self that commits to our personal evolution. You have to let go of the things that are holding you back. You have to trust that you're doing the right things by shedding the parts of you that aren't you. I promise you, you're not going to miss the false you. Instead, you'll be excited to finally meet and accept yourself. So the takeaway with this is that this much is clear. Discovering who you are is a never-ending journey. Like the universe, you are never in the same state. You will always change, evolve, grow. Why do we get so caught up in our definition of identity? It's because we all crave the same things: happiness, peace, and success. Without finding out who you are, you feel like you'll never come close to any of it. So in your journey of self-discovery, remember to take a step back and reflect on yourself. I am making decisions based on my own values. I am who I want to be. Once you have reflected upon yourself and discovered who you want to be, you can engage in the process of pushing yourself forward through active choosing, exploration, and positive disintegration to finally make yourself the person you always hoped you'd become. And in the process, you'll discover the answers to the question, who am I? I am me. With all that said, are you ready to discover who you are? If so, I have my 4th Empowerment Transformation Program starting February the 6th. And if you discover something new about yourself or who you are from just the information above, then imagine how much you can grow and discover about yourself through my program. So just like the things that we talked about, we go in depth, we break down those layers, we really discover through tools and techniques on discover and give you the ability to figure out who you are at your core. So I'm doing now until January 8th. You receive $150 off. Actually, my program is valued at $1,000. I lowered it to $700, and until January 8th, I'm giving $150 off. If you programmed as a gift from me to you, and you can use the code in all capital letters HERO 2022. And you can go to my website at divinelovetarot.com, and you can book the 7-week empowerment transformation course there. So I just want you to, within this information, it's just all about you being able to pour back in yourself, to be able to learn how to accept yourself for all aspects of yourself and find peace in that and joy. And within that peace is joy and happiness. And I'm living proof, walking proof of it. All the women that I've helped in the past are living, walking proof of it, that my program works. It is guaranteed. You do the work, you will see the results. Okay. So now I just want you to take a deep breath. Before you move on to the next part of your day, stop for a moment and take a deep breath. By stopping to take a deep breath, your heart rate slows down and more oxygen enters your bloodstream. This communicates to your brain to relax, okay? Taking a deep breath has the potential to improve the quality of your day. So when it comes to making decisions, especially if you know if they're good for you or not, take that deep breath. Take those deep breaths. I call it smelling the roses, blowing out the candles, right? Hold it for 4. Blow out the candles for 4. This gives you the opportunity to gain clarity that you seek, right? For those grand ideals, to make those decisions to alleviate that fear, that worry and doubt within your decision making, okay? So now that you're clear and focused, after you've taken a few minutes to take those deep breaths, what do you have to lose and what do you have to gain in putting your needs, intentions, growth, and purpose into action? Don't let fear of the unknown, stop you from reaching your full potential. Don't let past experience define who you are today. And know that the time is now. Don't hesitate. This is your journey to live. And it should be on your terms, based on your happiness. Okay? So with that said, if it's not with me, let it be with somebody else. I just want everyone to know that you can do this. You can change this. You can be happy. You can discover who you are, you at your core. You can discover what your purpose is in life. And it's possible because I've done it. I've taught others to do it, and you can do it too. I promise you that. So don't hesitate. Reach out, message me, go on there. Book the 7-week transformation program. Take advantage of the $150 discount that's available to you at this time till January 8th. Okay? We only have a few days left. Okay? So don't hesitate. Take those leaps of faith. Do what you know is right for you in your soul. Okay? And with that said, me, I got to pull a card, And also, if you're interested in learning to row, that's also available there as well. So you can also learn to row. So I think I want to pull a card from let's see. Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it from Kali Ma. I don't know why. I don't know. I just feel like endings and beginnings, because it's all about what I just talked about, is how do we discover who we are? We have to release and let go of the lie of who we've been told we are, so we can embrace who we are today, who we're meant to be, in other words. Mantra Shakti is number 40. I'm just going to read a little bit. I'm not going to go into depth about it, but this is the message based on what I just read you and what Spirit wants you to know around this energy. Her voice creates and dissolves universes. Her vibration within our souls creates our life path. You have the sacred power of voice. How shall you express it? To call for effective divine assistance in all ways. Do not allow negative thought or speech to undermine your inner spiritual connection. Claim your voice and your power to create. Listen for inner guidance and then set your course and act in motion. Though it may not yet be visible in your physical world, a new order is generating within the soul. In time, it shall manifest in transformed physical circumstances. So, in other words, just know that this is really about, you listen to your voice, your higher self, right? Your soul. And know that the path that you're being led on is the right path. It's all in divine timing. But don't hesitate to do what you know is right for you. Don't continue to live in fear and doubt and worry of the unknown. And trust that everything is happening in divine timing. And if you know that the message that I just gave to you, what I just read and went over those steps, if you connect with that, if you feel that in your soul that this is something that you need, that is for you, don't hesitate. Don't worry about how I'm going to have money or what am I going to do to pay. Don't worry about those things. Just live in this moment, be present, and know that if this is something that can help you succeed in life, and these are tools and techniques that you can take with you for the rest of your life, that's going to help you really figure it out where you're going, then this is for you. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, but I'm sending you all love, light, and healing, and I will talk to you soon.